Good day, everyone. My name is Jeff King. I'm one of the sales leaders here at the InflowCX Amplix team. I have with me Richard Dixon, who is our senior support analyst. Today, we're going to be talking about optimizing your support experience, troubleshooting essentials with InflowCX. Also, as a future plug, we have an upcoming webinar this coming August 29th, next week, leveraging Genesis gamification for improved agent and customer experiences. So if you're interested in that one, please get see it and register as well. For us today, a little bit about InflowCX. For those of you that know us or don't know us, maybe we'll hit on a couple topics. And then we're going to get right into the meat of it, which will be troubleshooting essentials with InflowCX. Obviously, we'll touch on some Q&A and then a good way to contact us if you do have any questions or concerns after the presentation. For us, if you're not familiar with InflowCX Amplix, we are now a combined organization. We literally do three things, and we do it as well as anybody else in the industry, and that's evaluate, deploy, and optimize. And for our customers, that could be a myriad of things. It started out with customer experience, and it has evolved into CCaaS as well as AI, UC, WFO, WFM, automation, BPOs, analytics, and all sorts of other key engagement technologies and services we work with our customers on. So from an evaluation standpoint, we have an entire team that all they do is evaluate what you need as a customer. Our sales folks aren't involved. It is truly a behind the scenes look into everything that you have today and want to have for the future. From there, we have an entire team that deploys it, and we do the implementation from soup to nuts. We call it white glove, gold glove, however you want to describe it. We are hands-on and provide a very high-touch implementation from that aspect. Going forward and helping you optimize, our managed services team does a fantastic job from break fix to anything from moves, adds, or changes, and also helping to position you better for your future endeavors. That is reflected in our customer CSAT, which we tout and talk about as much as we can at 99.6%. Customer satisfaction rate is phenomenal in our industry. We cover and help our customers in a myriad of segments, from small business all the way through enterprise, as well as strategics. And that encompasses customers as large as Domino's to as small as your mom and pop retail store on the corner. We'll handle and work with and have experience with everything from tech, retail, hospitality, healthcare, real estate, and finance. These are just a few of the customers that we've been contracted to work with and have been customers for a number of years. As you can see, they'll range anywhere from global companies to, like I said, the corner shop. To do that, we've got to be not only engaged with, but have a very good understanding of all of the technology partners in the industry. And that's going to range from a CCaaS vendor, which you'll see all on the left-hand side of your screen. We do tech evaluations for all of those. We also, on the right-hand side, work with all of the the UCaaS tech partners, which, again, these come and go, and you'll see some of them on there that have been on there for years and others that are just brand new and have popped in that are fantastic options for our customers. Where we've seen this really grow is that CX ecosystem in the middle. Before, we may have had one or two folks in the AI, self-service, agent assist piece, and now we have, there's 6 on here, but we have quite a few more that we're adding on daily. The only way that they're added on from us is that we can do both implementation and managed services and understand how they're going to help our customers. We have folks coming to us all the time wanting to be part of our ecosystem. And we're very particular with what we do because we want to make sure that they fit not just what we do as a company and how we treat our customers, but if they're going to work with us to maintain that same level of not just technology, but assistance for our customers on a daily basis. Now, I really want to turn it over to Richard Dixon and let him walk through some of the questions that you guys have had, which are based around troubleshooting essentials with InflowCX. Richard?
Thanks, Jeff. So what we're going to go over today is going to be the troubleshooting essentials dealing particularly with InflowCX, how to open a case, and then some log gathering, because that's usually important when we're dealing with certain aspects of things like Genesis or other companies. So who can open a case with InflowCX? Well, you need to be on the authorized list. So if we have somebody who calls in, and I'm one of the agents who will be answering the phone, if somebody calls in and they are not on the authorized list, we cannot help them at all, and we will turn them away at that point. There is some ways to get on that list. So if you're not an authorized user can call in. So they can be added to the call with you and verify who they are, and then say, "Hey, we need to be adding this individual to the list so we can do it live on the phone." They can also open a case on your behalf. So they'll open a case with Genesis, not Genesis, with us, and indicate that they need to have a Inflow Portal user added. Outside of that, you can also reach out to your CSM and get added to the authorized list. They are fully capable of being able to do that. You provide them with the following information. This is critical. I need a first and last name so I know who I'm dealing with when a ticket comes through. I need an email. That way I can contact you, and a direct dial number. That's really important because sometimes the cases that are sent over, um, the messages aren't always 100% clear to us of what the issue is. So we'll call to get further clarification. And sometimes we'll also need to know whether or not the person needs access to all cases, because as far as the company goes, you can have individual cases at an individual level, or have it open to everybody who's ever opened a case within that particular division. That way we can see other cases, so you can work on other people's cases. So it really depends on how um, you want that individual authorized. Along with that, and this is something also important, we require a technical contact when directly working with an end user. So end users can't call in to us to get support currently. We do require a technical expert on the phone. That way they can deal with certain things, like if we need to do a remote session, we need to be able to have somebody who has the ability to authorize. Sometimes our remote connection does require an admin to be able to access things. So that's reason why we need to have a technical contact on that line. So things we need to know when you open or call in for a case. So first, if it's a system down emergency, this is imperative. Call in. So if everything is down, call in. That's the fastest way to get to us, as opposed to opening an email case or opening it through our queue. Um, we won't see it immediately, and it'll come in at a different rate. Calling in directly, you'll get one of us almost immediately at that point. Who? What we also need to know is who the affected agents are, whether it's a queue or a flow, et cetera, whatever the situation is. We need to know what's going on. We need to know when the behavior first started. Is it 100% repeatable or intermittent? So is this something that you could absolutely do every single time, or is this something that is just random? It happens once every couple of days. It happens daily. It happens weekly. It happens monthly. So a couple months ago this happened. That's important to know. Depending on the situation, though, if it's something that is older, we might not be able to help in certain situations because we need current logs for things like that. The other thing that we need to know is whether or not the agent is remote. There's a lot more things involved with a remote agent versus one in the office. Office is usually a little more tied down as far as network goes, and we can troubleshoot and go a little further that direction. But if they're on a home network, that can also be something that is going wrong, so that adds another layer to it. We need to know if they're on a cloud solution, and if they're on a cloud solution, whether or not they're using the application or a browser. And if they're on a browser, we need to know what type of browser that they're on to be able to help give you information in order to be able to grab logs, because there's a different process between grabbing logs for Edge and Chrome or the application itself when it's related to Genesis. They're similar, but they are different. Like I said before, we also may request that you do a remote session to better have an understanding of the issue at hand. So we use GoToAssist, Fast Support. We'll ask you to go there. We'll give you a key, and we'll be able to interact with you, and we'll be able to control the computer to be able to click around where we need to click around to see this process. We can also get a screen capture at that time, or screen recording if necessary, in order to be able to facilitate further down the line what information we need. All right, Kylie, we are going to switch over to my screen. It's going to take me just a second to get switched over here. And we're going to open a case live and see how this goes through. All right. So this is our homepage, inflowcx.com. where we're going to go from here is to a login. It'll ask you for your username and password. In this case, I've already got mine pre-filled out in here. If you do forget your password, click the forgot your password link. On occasion, it does get stuck in a password reset loop. So you click password reset, and then it sends you a link, and you click password reset on that, and it will just keep feeding back into itself. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen on occasion. If you do get stuck in that situation, just call us and we can manually, from the support side, reset your portal login. So after that, you'll click login. It'll show you any cases that are open. In this case, I have access to an entire org. So you can see that there is a couple different trackers for different people. This allows me to look at those cases. From here, what we're going to do is, well, I'm going to search for whatever my issue is. So if it was a headset issue or an audio issue or trouble configuring something, you can try to use our knowledge base, which is at the top, to see if that information is available to you to be able to self-help. If not, all you need to do is click on create a new support case. Again, it'll indicate up here if it's an urgent issue or system down, please call our support line. From here, you'll have to type in what company you're involved with. So in this case, we'll go with Inflow. It will pull it open. From here, we need to choose the platform type. We have Genesis or a cloud type. So Genesis, Ring Central 5.9, etc. And on-prem, which would be like Mitel or other. If you're unsure what the issue is, if it really doesn't fall within that, you can also open other. But ideally, you would want to click what type of system you're on. That way we know when we're going into it, what situation is going on, because some people do have multiple systems. If you have multiple systems, put the system that you're currently operating on or having the issue with. That way we can direct that appropriately. So from there, since I've chosen Genesis, we'll choose product type. So we'll have a subset here. So go to pure cloud in this case. And this, I'm going to do something with, I need help with my audio. I'm just making it really quickly here. So from here, I also have the ability to attach any kind of screenshots or things like that. I'm going to hit submit, and we'll wait for a little bit here and have one of the agents on our side and show you around how quickly things do come across in our situation here. So I have created the case. This will be a case number right here. This is what you'll reference when you call in. Say, hey, I already have an open case. It'll be 238634. From here, I have more details, which will give me a little bit more information. This is the case. I can type more comments in here and then wait for the response from somebody who will get assigned the case here. Usually takes about a minute or two to get through our system and then over to our queue. And then from there, one of us will respond to it. And then we'll usually reach out by a comment to say, hey, we have your ticket. What issue do you have? How can I help you? Or call you directly depending on what the issue is. The other thing here that does happen with us is when you upload files, always indicate that you've made a post that you've uploaded files to the case, because it doesn't always prompt us as an update to the case that there's files been uploaded. So always indicate a comment that I have uploaded files or documents. That way we are aware of it, because it'll prompt us at that point. That way they're not just sitting there hidden and not aware that something has come across. I'm going to refresh and see if there's been a response yet. Doesn't look like it's come through just yet. But again, you can see the case number over here. This allows me to indicate to whoever I'm calling on the line. This is the contact name. This is going to be the individual who opened the case, what the subject was, what time it was open. Give it another minute or two here. And I'm just checking our system. Looks like it was just assigned now. So not very long. So this is just over a minute now that it's taken to get assigned out to somebody. And at this point, once it gets assigned to somebody, what they'll do is they'll look into it, verify that this customer has a contract with us. After that's been verified, we'll go through and then type a response out to the case to indicate, hey, we've got your case. We're looking into it. How can I help? All right. Well, while we're waiting for that response, we're going to jump over and do a little bit more. So I'm going to stop my share. We'll go back to the slides. And then once that pops up on our side, I'll let you know. There we are. So when you do open a case, I did mention logs. This is really critical. So we need logs in a timely fashion. The reason why that is because we need to be able to minimize the downtime and be able to have a quicker diagnostic and resolution to the issue. Collecting logs within a 7-day period will help adhere to these policies to ensure that important data is not overlooked or lost. So, with Genesis, especially, those logs only last 7 days within the system. They get flushed out after a 7-day reoccurring period. There's nothing I can do from my side to change that. Unless we've opened a case and they're doing a little bit longer log gathering. But typically, the edge logs only last for 7 days within the system. So that's important for you to immediately, when you have an issue, bring it up and provide the logs. If you don't do that, we might not be able to get that issue right at hand, especially if it's an intermittent issue that can be a delay to getting this process started and documented and grabbing all the proper information. There may be times where you need to provide multiple sets of logs. So you provide that first one, that's great. Sometimes we'll ask you for a working and non-working individual, especially if it's an odd issue where two individuals have the exact same settings, and there is no noticeable difference between the two. We'll ask you to provide an example of an individual who is working and not having this problem, and then somebody who is not working, and then maybe gathering logs from both so we can look at what kind of difference there is to indicate what the issue is. When you have text-based information, particularly when it comes to IDs, so there is a conversational ID, it is a long string of numbers and digits. It is always preferable to have a text-based version of it versus a screenshot. Because if it's a screenshot, there might be a number that gets transposed. So it's really easy to copy and paste it. There is a copy option in all of the interactions. There's three dots next to it. You can click on it and it will copy that actual interaction and then provide that to us. That will speed up the process. And then a screenshot of the related error. So if there's an error that comes up on the screen, take a screenshot of that and that will definitely help speed things along. So in this case, we're going to go over how to gather Chrome logs for Genesis. This is something that we've seen as a sticking point a couple times with you know, being able to ask this from our customers. So network logs help diagnose WebRTC issues and help diagnose call control issues. So if an agent was put to unresponsive, even though they said they're not having that kind of issue, they respond to the call or they try to respond to the call. Gathering these logs will show if there was something connected to Genesis having this issue, or if it was something on the agent's end. So to be able to do this, you'll want to click on the right side of the address bar. And I'll go over this in a demo so we can see this. You'll click More and then Developer Tools. From there, the Developer Tools will open. You'll want to click on the Network tab, and then you'll need to click these following check boxes, which is Enable Preserve Logs. After that, you'll click Clear. And then while the console remains open, you'll want to reproduce the issue. So you just leave it open during that time, whether it's a repeatable issue or not. Just leave it open for the time being until you're able to have that issue happen again. After that, after you've reproduced it, you'll right click on any line and you'll need to right click and save as HAR. That is important. It has to be a HAR file in order to move forward, and then name and save the file. This process is very similar to this next step, which is gathering the uh, console logs. they're both in the same area, so you'll be doing both at the same time. Well, Genesis does have enable to automatic log gathering for the console logs. It is not automatic for the network logs. And there's always two pieces of that puzzle. We need both every time. The automatic log doesn't produce the information in our experience that is necessary to be able to get that information across. So manual log, since you're already doing a manual log for the network, the console portion is right next to it. We'll want you to do the same. So in Chrome browser, you'll click the three dots under more developmental tools. In the upper right hand, the developmental tools, you click the icon under settings, and then you'll need to click the following three items there, which is log XM HTTPL requests. From there, you want show timestamps and then preserve logs upon navigation. Those three must be checked in order to have variable logs. From there, just like what you did with the other one, you're going to close the X at the top right corner. There, you're going to go to the console tab, just like you did with the network tab. After that, you're going to click the clear response there. So this will clear the console logs. You'll go over to network, do the same thing, leave the console log open and reproduce the same steps while you're under investigation. After that, you'll right click and save the file. So that'll be basically the same exact steps. So I'm going to demonstrate that really quickly. I'll do a quick check on this. All right, so we're in Genesis right now. Make sure I'm in my home org. So from here, get over to activity. From here, we're going to go into more tools, developer tools. For me, I have it pop out just because it's ease of access. And you'll see that we have under console, preserve logs is already checked. And we go into network. And we'll go into settings ahead of time up here. And you'll see under network, preserve logs, record logs. And we want to make sure both of those are checked there. So hit the X, we'll go back here. You can see that there's information already available in here. What we want to do is clear it out. And then we'll also go to console and clear it out and leave that open. I'm going to move this off the screen briefly. Let's say I was having issues when I was clicking into my user and clicking busy. If that had an issue where it was populating an error, what would happen is on this, it would give the information. As you can see, there's some errors in here already. There's some errors that will always be generated. After we've reproduced the error, you're going to right click and you'll save as. So this is for the console log. And then for the network log, we'll do the same thing. I'll right click and save as har with content. That's important. Since I already have one, I'll need to create a different name. And this allows me to save those files. So when we go back over to the case, what we would do, since I was having that audio issue, even though this might not be absolutely useful in this case because it's an audio issue, it is likely going to be a situation of environmental. I would go back into my case. I would click the link icon down here. And then I would choose the files that I need to one at a time, click open, and it will attach the file here. I would say, I have and when I comment on that, that file will be in the system now. And then as one of the engineers on our side, we'll be able to click on that to see what that file is. Stop the share. So here's some key things to keep in mind. It is imperative to gather both the console and network logs. Just gathering one of those will not allow us to be able to move forward with the case. We must have both of those. That is absolutely critical that we have both the console and network log gathered simultaneously. Gathering one and then the other will not help with the situation. For Genesis, if it is elevated to dev or serve ops, once it gets to that point, it's a little bit out of our hands. They will likely, in most cases that I've come across, require a fresh set of logs to capture the behavior. That way, they have the freshest information available because it may have taken a couple days to go through their system to decide, hey, we need to elevate it to a higher level, which is going to be their dev slash serve ops section there. That's outside of what our direct access is. For odd behavior, maybe be asked to do a remote session with screen recording to capture the behavior. So I can do a screen recording session with you to be able to capture the behavior to better show dev or serve ops the problem, because sometimes they don't understand exactly what we're producing. Since they don't have direct access and we do, we'll gather that information and provide it to them. So, any questions about what we've covered so far about basic troubleshooting with this and being able to open a case with us and the requirements?
I don't see any questions from the audience, Richard, at this time.
Well, thanks everybody for showing up. I appreciate it.